Now let's do the filtering and detection operation. See, when it comes to filtering and detection operation, there are so many other way. Okay, so suppose that I wanted to like do a gray filter. Okay, so suppose the image contrast is very high. Okay, and it is taking so many space or processing time because the contrast is high, so the pixel value is high. Okay, so it means that it needs more numerical operation. So I don't want that. I want this image to get a little diminished. I want this image to make it little grayish in color. Okay, so that my processing part will take a lesser time, right? So for that I will be converting this image into a gray color. Okay, so similarly I am supposed to use from the CV2, I am supposed to use CV2 color. So CV2 is basically the thing, the computer, the OpenCV libraries which I have imported. From this I will be using the CV2 color as a method, and in this method I am going to pass the two things. The first thing is that I am supposed to pass one image as a physical file. The second thing is that I am going to pass the conversion, which means the color to, I am going to convert this BGR to gray format. Okay, in this way, so that if you see the image, right, so let me show you the image, that how does it looks like, right? So plt dot, let's say, figure, and see, so from this image, like, it is getting converted into some kind of a grayish format, right? Similarly, like if you wanted to like blur some portion of the image, okay, so for blurring the image, let's say I'm supposed to use cv2 dot Gaussian blur. Okay, so that I wanted to like blur some part of the image, and this is basically the kernel size, right? So this is like, this is how you wanted to blur these portion of the image, right? So if you really wanted to like plot this blur picture, so first of all let me show you, right? Because the blur is also an image. If I just go and just see the blur dot shape, if I write, okay, so it is also having an image into the RGB color, right? And if you wanted to plot this thing, so again plt dot figure, and then figure size. So figure size, I'm supposed to use this one, and then I'm supposed to put this. So see, the image is getting blur here. Okay, and suppose if you wanted to increase this 21 to 31, so you will see a lot more blurring to this image, right? Why blurring is needed? Because in some portion, let's say you are getting a live streaming, right, and the image size is basically, let's say, 420 by 420, and you wanted to blur only your cropped region. Okay, so you can actually try to use this. Okay, similarly, let's say that you wanted to like the some kind of a edge. Okay, and why it is actually needed is that, for example, let's say in a lot of medical research, okay, I will give you my research paper, right, which is like published in the international journal. So what it happens is that, so my research was mostly like inclined towards the diabetic retinopathy. Okay, so you have the image of the retina, and the retina is basically having a very thin blood vessels. Okay, so like it is not able to like capture it from the real naked eye, right? So what you're supposed to do is that you're supposed to do some kind of a image pre-processing thing, right? So what I would personally found out when I was doing research here is that some portion of the image is basically blurred. Okay, some portion of the retina is blurred, some portion of the retina may have a very thin vessels. Okay, so and some portion may have a very thick vessels. Okay, and I wanted to study over the very thin blood vessels. Okay, the thin line. Okay, so that I could able to like segregate all the retina which having a very thin blood vessels into the one category. Okay, so how did I use that thing? So I actually like use this one, cv2.canny. Okay, so what does it do is that it basically like try to only detect the edges, right, from the image. Okay, so let's say that if I just going to put this one, right, and if I just going to plot it, this is edge. See, this have already detected some part of the edge. Okay, like by neglecting the other portion of the image. Similarly, let's say if you wanted to show you something else, blur region. See, okay, from the blur part it is able to like try to segregate only the edges which is actually like watchable from this. See, this is my blur image, right? And let's say that if I wanted to see this gray part, this is my Gaussian blur part. Okay, and from the blur part you are able to capture these many edges, whatever it is like needed. Okay, so in this way you would able to like take out the edges, right, from the image as well. Okay, so let's say that if the image, and it is like, I think it is mostly like used in a medical domain, and let's say it's very important. I would also tell you that in the semiconductor domain, okay, so before like the image is going for a fabrication, okay, before going image is going for a fabrication, so you have a something called as the chip design architecture. Okay, and that is basically the image has been taken, okay, and you really wanted to find out the cracks on this image. Okay, so how do you basically do that thing? You can just apply, you can do the image processing thing, and you can just apply this edge detection part, and you can actually study the edge, right? So because what happens is that, because before like going for a fabrication, okay, so all these things are basically designed in a so precise manner, okay, that finding out at the very atomic detail has to be a big challenge. Okay, so that is why there the big computer vision libraries came into picture. Okay, so like it has to pass through a good CNN pre-trained architecture just to detect that is there any cracks in the chip or not. Okay, so from this is actually the one of those middle step, right, you which where you wanted to just find out the arrangement of the lines, okay, the arrangement of the symmetricity. Okay, and if you find out that this line is basically not symmetric to the other line, so it may classified as in the category of crack versus non-crack. Okay, so you can basically try to like get the game glimpse from there. Okay, so that is why this is the very good application when it comes to like detecting the edge, so and then blurring and de-blurring the image, right, and then converting the image into the like the grayish format. Okay, or let's say the let's say like I will also show you after this one that how do you actually like increase the brightness of the image. Okay,